Hi, everyone. Glad you could join us today for the second installment of Gen Z. And this is Connor, my eldest grandchild of the four grandchildren I have, but I actually have six because I have another one. It's a long story. They're semi-adopted into the family forever. But yeah, glad to have you here, Connor. And we're going to cover a lot of questions related to how you view life as a Gen Zer, because as I've said before, Gen Zs are the first generation to grow up with access to the internet, portable digital technology. They're on track to be the best educated, but we'll get to that, and I'll ask you your opinion. The Economist has described Gen Zers as more educated, well-behaved, stressed, depressed compared to previous generations. We'll talk about that and see what you think. But welcome, Connor. Yay, you came.
Yay.
We made it here.
It did.
And let's see if we have anybody in the chat yet. No one yet. So I'm just going to put in the first question here. I know, and I'm proud of you. You're a university sophomore. What's your major?
I'm a freshman. This is my first year.
Freshman. That's right. Sorry, audience.
Yeah.
Grandma screwed up. I don't even know. You're a freshman. That's a first year. Let me correct that banner. And we will, for eternity, it will be the right thing.
There we go.
There. Okay. University, that should have a space in it, but too bad. Here, let's fix that. That's why I did the banners beforehand. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I just wanted to let everybody know what your major is so that they can see how you filter life through, your choices.
I am currently majoring in mechanical engineering at Sac State, which is, it's hard. It's definitely a challenge. That's for sure.
Connor, your sound is it's a little bit garbled. It wasn't when we were earlier, but now for some reason it's like gravelly.
Let me try and put in like earbuds or something, because I have a microphone.
There's that cute grandson. He was hiding. Okay.
Is that any better? Or no?
Tell me what your major is, and I'll tell you if it's better.
There we go. I know what I'm doing. There. Okay.
Is it better? Let me see. What's your major? What are you majoring in?
Mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering. Okay, and my next question, let's see, I have to go to another spot for that. Oh, here we go. Describe chemical engineering? No.
Mechanical
engineering. Describe it and how it contributes to society right now and in the future. How will we use mechanical engineering, do you think, in the future? And
well, right now, mechanical engineering is the same as it's always been. It's this design of everything static, moving, and mechanical in nature. If it's got more than one part and it fits together, a mechanical engineer made it. So they've always contributed to society in just like constant ingenuity that is fueled by the companies that hire them and whatnot. You know, make things better, hopefully, and you know, not weapons. That's
Not weapons.
not weapons.
That would
I
be
mean, because there is that usage. You know, they make the highest paying mechanical engineering jobs are the ones that have government paychecks and usually end up you designing something that is, you know, meant for defense, you know,
right,
that kind of stuff.
right. Very true, very true. But there are a lot of applications for mechanical engineering for wonderful things, and it's a great field. So I'm proud of you. But your sound is still doing the same exact thing. Do you
Does it
have
really?
by any chance the old fashioned, you know, ear, the like the iPhone earbuds?
No,
Because those
my
they take the sound out. Yeah, it's dark.
no. I put in my the sound should be coming through my earbuds now. I didn't have them connected before, and it was should have just been my microphone.
It
There's
still it sounds exactly the same for some reason.
if it's not the microphone, then it's probably just the Wi-Fi.
You think so?
Yeah,
I
which
feel I feel
I don't
sorry
know how
for
to
people
fix
listening
with
because
that.
I want them to hear you, you know, without that. It's like
Mhm.
a lot of static in the um,
Yeah, I don't know how to take that out.
um
Um, Here, let's see here. Okay, is that any better at all?
oh yeah, for some reason it's a bit better, although you fade in and out of the garble. I think
Oh,
it's a
okay.
bit better. Yeah, it's a bit better. So let's go on. I liked your answer about how it contributes. Gen Z, it's on track for being the best educated generation yet. What's your perspective on this? Do you really feel that it is? I mean, I know COVID set us back. It doesn't matter who you are, where you fit. It just set people back a little
Yeah,
bit. But bar
yeah.
that, mhm,
No, COVID has set us back like almost permanently, I think.
mhm,
Um, I think everybody, I think the question is, while not best educated, but like most educated in an enrollment sense, I would say there's more people going to school now than ever because it's easier to, because of how widespread video calling became, you know.
mhm.
Um, like Zoom classes replaced entire lecture halls, you know, very easily, because it's, you know, it's just a matter of listening. I wouldn't say that has been the best for learning, though. I think it is it has turned the classroom into a more objective based environment. Like hitting results is more important than actually absorbing the material,
Right,
and
right.
that's what people are missing out on. Uh, you know, in this, if that is if hitting those objectives as just like getting points on an assignment, if that's education, then yeah, there's a lot more people doing it, um,
Mhm.
and it's a lot more widespread, a lot easier, a lot cheaper. um, but in terms of like people actually like absorbing this information and like being using it, having it, and being able
Practical
to retain it
application.
and
Mhm,
practicing it, yeah, I don't know, I think
mhm.
that's been wounded a bit by like video calls and stuff
That's a
like that.
really good point. That's a really good point. And, you know, it's interesting to look at it from that perspective because you're right. We've gotten into teaching from that aspect with you know, communication like Zoom or whatever, go to meeting. And it's changed the face of how we learn and how we integrate that information into our daily lives or make it practical.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there can be a real disconnect. Yeah, it's true. So you think, um, yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see if if Gen Z is the best educated or how they
Yeah.
get out of this, right? Because there's a lot of things that changed for you Gen Zers throughout the COVID thing. I mean, big, huge things that shifted how your education happens. So yeah, which you just touched on. And the next thing is how was life before COVID, socially, educationally, and generally? Um, uh, you were just going along, having a good time, and doing your thing, and you know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. It was pretty rough. I think my experience with all that was it was a lot more different. Um, and I think it'll tie in like to a couple of other questions you have. Even before COVID, I had like pretty like sizable impediments because of like my mental health and stuff. But I had so many more resources around me. I have a huge group of friends that's from high school that I'm still friends with. I still like keep them together and stuff.
it's important.
And and they were like my coping mechanism. They would de-stress me. They were everything.
Yeah.
And then it was great. Educationally, I think COVID hit for me around sophomore year. Sophomore year is probably when like I found like good group of friends. That was when everything solidified
That was high school,
educationally.
right?
Yeah, sophomore year was my best GPA
Mhm,
average, like in high school.
mhm.
And when it hit after like January or so, oh man, it affected everything. I couldn't learn as effectively, and I didn't have my coping mechanism around me. It was a lot of isolation. It was rough.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Um, and the um, after after COVID, it just kind of like wiped out your socialization, everything,
Yeah.
how you became educated, the way in which you did, and it kind of in it. My next question is about the psychological effects of it because you touched on mental health, and it's a huge issue with Gen Zers. The mental health, the depression, and all of that is a real thing for Gen Zers, and it's been documented um, that they, have this problem
Hmm.
with coping with the situations that are going on, the stress and whatnot. But COVID didn't help, definitely. So, did everything get back to normal once you got over the hump with COVID? Did you feel like do you feel like you're back? You probably,
Um,
you made a big switch to going to university, which is a whole nother gear of shifting to become a
I
freshman.
nothing was the same after it.
Nothing.
Um, I was uh, I went through like a lot of like rough shit that I did not expect to happen um, in the span of like a year, almost 2 years. Um, and it changed. It didn't just like change me and how I look at things, but
Mhm.
also like changed everybody else around me. We all looked at school differently. You know, we all uh, we all I mean, socially, we always still hung out, whether it was
Right.
online or in person. Um, you know, uh, I think the group I have and why we hang out and why we're together, that hasn't changed, but definitely our attitudes towards what we were working towards before.
Mhm.
Um, you know, we
Did
didn't
you lose
see.
momentum? Did you feel like, I mean, so then you're left to reinvent how you approach learning or how you approach anything. What
Yeah.
the motivation, the all that foundation that
Hmm.
makes you want to go out and learn and
Yeah, yeah, it was a huge like momentum loss. The motivation originally was, like it was, uh, doing well in school will get me my dream job. That was like the
I
mindset.
totally get that, because you don't have, I
Yeah.
mean, there's really no other concept of, you don't have the expanded awareness of what is out there. So you're
Yeah.
just doing it from a narrow framework to say, yeah, X to, A to Z makes you get you
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Yeah, no, like
You
it,
follow
it
those
it's
steps and it's success.
yeah, it seemed like a pretty linear path. And
Yeah,
then after like having that big of a wrench in the works, it didn't. And it was like, oh, do I really want to do what I'm working towards? Like,
right.
is is it worth the cost if the cost is also like part of my happiness? And like,
Exactly.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's become a big thing. Is like what costs effort, but what also costs like a certain amount of
You're
happiness.
touching on a real important Gen Z mindset, is if a Gen Z is not happy where at work or doing what they're doing, they will just, they will quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
do. That's what they do. But not that that's necessarily a productive approach, but
No.
you have to filter that with what's, reality. But
Hmm.
so the psychological effects, I think you touched on all that about,
Hmm.
it's, um, you know, it's definitely plays a part in looking at life a little differently, trying to get the motivation back. Why are you doing what you're doing? And you just want to be happy. You want to be in a place where you're doing what you enjoy doing, right? And
Yeah.
you mentioned all that. So, what's your view of the current world situation in all areas? Like, if if you could wave a magic wand and have the perfect world, um, you know, what would you start on first? Would it be the environment, and would it be socially getting, hopefully constructing a safe situation where people could talk, or what would that look like for you?
Um, I think socially right now there's more emphasis on mental health than there ever has been, and that's only going to keep growing. I think socially right now it's solid. I there was never this amount of support. You could never find this level of support. Um, 5 years ago,
Yeah,
it wasn't a thing. I think even so much so that like all of my friends, like even like the most like macho geared guys, like they've kind of realized like, ah man, it's like no facade is worth that much energy,
yeah.
like people gotta like talk about what they're actually feeling,
You're,
um
you just become who your core person, who you really are,
yeah, no,
instead of
exactly.
all
I,
the yeah, personification of who you.
yeah, no, I think a lot of people had like just dropped dropped what they were trying to be. um
Oh, that's pretty
uh
interesting.
No, it and it's cool. In all other regards, it's pretty grim. um, Environmentally, uh, um, it's a logistical nightmare. I would love everything being electric by 2035. That's a
Oh,
great game plan, but um, as long as we're like the materials that we're going to use for those batteries are just as expendable. We need to find a way to actually renew the energy that we are charging those batteries with, because you know as of now, the thing creating those energies is coal, which is dirtier than anything.
true.
And that's we have a huge in the US. We have a huge space usage issue. I think a third of our land is farmland, and rightfully so, because we have a proportion uh, crazed country. You know, um, the smallest Denny's meal is the largest meal in Britain or something like that.
Yeah.
But in we need to figure out how to use that space to our advantage and creating energy that will not hurt the planet.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. No, and politically, uh, I've lost a lot of hope in our politics, especially our country as of late. It's yeah, it. I mean, it used to seem to the naked eye like pretty cut and dry, and now, uh, because of how invested and more informed we are because of inside informants and news channels on 24/7. It's hard to have faith in the government.
Well, that was another thing that I probably should have put in the questions is in the news and in other media, speaking truth and not speaking rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
How important do you feel it is to somehow create a I don't want to call them watchdog because that sounds like Big Brother, but something that gives someone all the free speech they want. But if you're not talking about the truth, they will monitor it and see. I hate the idea of monitoring too, but I mean that truth is something you can count on because there's some kind of sanction that happens to you if you say a bunch of stuff to people who are really like sheep and they're going to follow that blind QAnon stuff or whatever. I'm sorry, I got a little political, but my point is some people don't realize that they're not hearing the truth. And there has to be some, don't you feel like there has to be some protection that that if you're speaking things that are not true, shouldn't you be called out for it in some way? Or,
I do think that is true. I think it's just as dangerous though because those watchdogs.
It is dangerous. It's a slippery slope. Yeah,
it's who holds the leashes on the watchdogs because once
Yeah,
they start
absolutely.
kicking out the truth and their truths, it gets
Yeah,
dicey.
it is absolutely dicey, but there's something that you can't deny. Either somebody did something or they didn't do something. Either they said something or they didn't say something. Everything's recorded, everything's written down. If it can be fact checked, that's the event we're talking about. Fact checking everything so that there's some system that says, oh, red alert, that wasn't true.
Yeah.
It could be a computer system, whatever, that's out there in all the social media or whatever, that you can't just speak all this rhetoric. And I don't care what side of the politics you're on, everybody misspeaks to some degree or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry I put all my opinion in there. But, what is your perspective of the U.S. We just really got into that, but as far as civil liberty issues, human rights.
That's I don't know. Our human rights observing is fairly selective. It's kind of only the humans we care about. And while that is sad, you can't save everybody. But we put a lot of money into operations where the people who are running those operations are in like hellish conditions.
Right.
No, that's an area that I'm not too confident in, I have to say.
Yeah, I can understand that. And what are your personal objectives related to your future education, career, and life in general? I mean, you sat down and we talked about a few minutes ago. You had to find that something that made you want to be motivated toward, getting an education in X, Y, and Z field, and
Yeah.
what would that look like? Um, you have do you see yourself down the road, and do you actually have goals besides just finishing your education?
I would say that those goals change fairly frequently.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you
I'm
know,
sure
I
you do.
because it's not so much, I think the whole job surrounding mechanical engineering, I think it's something that I can I think it's one of the few things on the like college course rap sheet that I think I can handle. Like creative design is something I've been doing for as long as I can remember. Um, that's whether I can do it or not. That is not whether the issue. It's like I've sat down, I've told myself I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Where the goals come into question is, what kind of lifestyle do I want? How do I
Yeah.
want to live? I know I have a general idea of how I want to live, and
Well, what do you
uh,
see yourself in 10 years from now? Do you see yourself in what what kind of environment are you living in, and what's your
10 years.
setting?
Um, I don't know. I imagine probably like still still single, but like I'd like to stay in California, but I'd probably move to a really small town so I could like afford a actual place of my own.
I get
Um,
you. I totally,
yeah,
totally do.
yeah,
California is an
that's
expensive state for
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
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 I'd like that, but also just because I want I want a profession that is going to help me um finance and enjoy my hobbies to the fullest extent, because that's what I care about, doing just what I enjoy.
Of course.
And
I
if
mean,
I'm not,
isn't that why we work to begin with?
yeah,
We work
exactly.
for enough money to have the power to do what we want to do for the rest of our time when we're not working.
Yeah,
It's money equals the power in your life you have over your life to be able to enjoy vacations to Europe or whatever it
yeah.
is, your, you know, cachet or whatever. So,
Hmm. No, exactly, exactly. It
yeah,
is.
yeah. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Um, okay. I asked you about this, but that ideal image
Hmm.
uh, for the world, I mean, obviously, you'd want to see. I mean, what if we had a world with no borders?
Hmm.
Is that something you might want to say? I mean, just imagine it, however you want to engineer it.
I feel
Yeah,
like that's that's impossible to imagine. Like uh, you know, as humans, we want stuff that's ours, that's unique to us. And I don't think there's, you know, it doesn't matter how many people there are from like a place, people will still, they love to have a an identity, a
true.
a a claim over an area. And if you dissolve borders and stuff like that, then what's the point of naming an area, without borders? You want to know your
Agree
you
with you. Yeah,
yeah. You want to have an area to claim to your own, no matter how big or small it is, because that's part
that's
of an identity.
that's
Um, I would like that said, like I'd like a world where um, the identity, where you're from, it doesn't it doesn't have to hurt or hinder you or excel you in any specific way. You can just have your history, your identity, and cooperation. Just more like more more movement towards a global acceptance of human rights.
Right. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Let's hope that happens
Yeah.
sometime in the future. And what are your thoughts on I think this is another duplicate question, really,
Yeah.
on equal rights. Yeah, we really touched on that. So, and you even mentioned this, feeling,
Mhm.
not having confidence in the future.
Mhm.
And, but you don't, I wanted to look and see if you felt like your future is anyway in jeopardy by how society's moving forward, or do you feel like you'll still be okay? You'll have a good
Um,
job. You'll
I think the only thing that can affect my future in a way I wouldn't want is, if like uh the economy crashes or some war starts and everything like is altered permanently, or at least for like 10 or 15 years or something like that.
right.
I think that's the only thing that could really stop. I used to have a lot of personal uncertainty about the future, but
Mhm.
um
It just
I
keeps rolling along, no
it,
matter what.
it does keep rolling along. If I've made it this far, who says I
Yeah,
can't make it
exactly.
the
I mean,
next
there's
length?
your practicality of it. The ball
Yeah,
is still rolling
yeah,
slowly, and it keeps rolling. So,
yeah.
you
No,
know,
I think that's the one constant is just like
it
things will
really
keep happening, and
it
that's
really is. It really
yeah.
is. So, um, yeah, this was something I really didn't understand this, which I read, and I'm like, still can't understand what they meant. Gen Zers
Mm,
are said to live more slowly than previous generations at the same age. Do you find that true for you? More
slowly.
slowly. I mean, what do they mean? Do they mean because you've done things, online, and some of the education is online and you read online and you do your social media online?
I I don't know. I would say that's
Do they
weird.
mean in terms of socialization? Because, most people used to meet outside with their friends, and
Mhm.
now
No, I
you sit and play the game things with all the group, and you never leave your house.
I th- slowly, that's a weird way of putting it. I
It
think
is.
Gen Zers, uh, like people in my generation, including me, we've all grown up a lot faster because of the
Mhm.
internet. Like in terms of just with um uh with new knowledge, comes the want to experience like
Mhm.
the source of that knowledge. Whether that's good or bad.
Mhm.
And that accelerates people's. mm, it's hard to call it maturity, but I guess yeah, maturity.
Right.
And I would say they live a lot slowly in terms that um, I think people in my generation are not ready to follow they are not as quick to follow the um, norms of the past generation.
Now that is a good example of what could be moving more slowly. You're
Hmm.
not going to jump on some of the prior generation's bandwagon.
Yeah,
You're going to do your own thing and think it out and reason it out what's right for you in your generation and whatever you're bringing forward.
yeah.
So, yeah, I get what you're saying there. And uh, again, Gen Z is said to be a quieter generation.
Hmm.
Do you agree?
Quieter and like a
Probably,
social way.
yeah, quieter in a societal way, like they aren't out there rabble rousing, or they aren't. I'm just assuming that's what they mean when they mean quieter. You just don't hear from them. It's like that's why I'm
Yeah.
picking the Gen Z brain so we can, you know, we can get a handle on what Gen Zers actually think, because all of us are going, what's in their brains? You know, they're going to be this generation of kids out there voting, changing the world. The world
Mhm.
is going to be shaped by the Gen Zers right now. You're all in that age group. I think the
Mhm.
oldest Gen Z is like 23. So it started in
Mhm.
1996 and went to, I think it's 2010 or 15. I'm not sure. But anyway,
Yeah.
so, you know, you guys have a lot of power in your hands as to
Mhm.
what society will become. Hopefully, and because you say you aren't going to follow some other generation's ideas of what is tradition or status quo, you're going to do your own thing, makes me happy.
Mhm.
Because the Gen Zers I've talked to, like you, like yourself, have a good head on their shoulders, and it makes me feel more confident that you want equality for everyone. You want the things that our normal people would want for other people
Mhm.
in society, you know. So, yeah. Uh, so, do you really spend more time on technology and less on reading books, or do you find this
Yeah.
true for yourself and your friend? Oh, so, oh,
It's
really?
yeah, that's I mean,
Oh,
that's true for a ton
really?
of people. Yeah.
Oh,
I it's hard because, technology is majority of technology use now is social use.
yeah,
And after being isolated for such a long time, who wants to dive into a world alone, like a
yeah,
fictional world,
yeah.
when socializing at like a moment's
I
notice is on the
I
table.
get that perspective. I totally
Yeah.
can. I totally can get that.
you know i
Uh,
i definitely I haven't stopped reading. um if anything, there's been like also a kind of niche social push to for reading a lot more like older philosophy and like uh and self-help type material.
Absolutely. I dived into that when I was your age, and I
Yeah.
absolutely enjoyed all of it because there's a lot of wisdom in that
Hmm.
information to help you cope with life, and will help you in your work relationships, will help you with everything. So, and
Hmm.
also the different philosophies teach you how life really works.
Hmm.
Whatever you put out, you get back, you know. So it's also relates to physics. So
Hmm.
there's all kinds of things out there like that that can make your life so much better. Um, and you're legal, you can vote. So
Yeah.
in 2024, I want to see
um
how you feel about that.
I it's I say I was a lot more excited about voting probably 2 years ago or so.
Yeah, sure.
Um, I'd say right now, and maybe this is just because of the lack of a presidential election looming,
Correct.
that's not creating as much excitement. Um,
Absolutely. I think you're right about that. When
yeah, I don't know. I think
Mhm.
like politics in general, like everybody's a little like just over polarized. It's hard to find anything that matters now, nowadays. Yeah, it's so I would say, not as much as before. No, I
Mhm.
don't I don't think it matters too much to a lot of people around. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I, I'm going to correct this. I'm going to hide it and correct
Gotcha.
this because grandma, she was trying to make you a year older. Oh God, my brain wasn't working. So I just want to see. Give me a day in the life of. Give me what
Day
you
in the
get up in the
life.
morning. Tell me. Tell me the day in the life of. And don't forget your social clubs or whatever clubs you're in, so that
It's daily life. I don't know. It's a lot of my time during the school year and stuff is just it's a lot of studying. It's a lot of time on my own, which been like practiced because of COVID and stuff. So that wasn't too much of a big adjustment. It feels like school is normal, but in just greater quantities in some areas. Um, you know, Most chances I get, I try to find one of my friends on campus. As soon as I'm done with school, I like get home, fall asleep, and then go to work. And then I'll get home at maybe like midnight or something. Still have homework to do. Still
wow,
will go to the gym.
wow.
It's a lot of and a lot of my friends they're in the exact same routine.
So you get the exercise. So if they are, here's the thing that I read about Gen Z. It's rare to find a Gen Zer that actually has a job. So you're
Yeah.
one of the very small percentile that actually has a job, and you exercise, and you find time for a little social life with your friends, and but your
Mhm.
schedule. No wonder you come home and sleep.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. No, it to others it seems like a mess, but to me, it's just like
it works.
it's
It's
it
what you
yeah,
developed, your schedule.
yeah,
It's what you have to do to
yeah,
get where
exactly.
you need to go. And
Mhm.
that brings me to this question about: do you feel a different kind of responsibility in your life since uh, university? Do you feel like there's more of a seriousness or a more, or did you feel that way already?
Um, Oddly enough, the pressure seemed greater uh every year before this. You know, there was
Probably
a great
because you went to a private high school and
yeah,
that was
that
expensive.
didn't help.
That did not help.
If you didn't know what you were
Yeah,
doing by like
you were
13,
wasting your
you'd be
parents'
dead in the
money.
water. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um,
So
but
now you're like, oh, phew.
yeah, I mean, there were like an incredible amount of deadbeats there who'll do nothing with their lives.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Now you
uh,
sound like Ethan. That's what
yeah,
your brother Ethan said, that similar things. Yeah.
no, there's, I think, I've been oversaturated with worries of my future, and that was a big stressor before, especially concerning college. And now that I'm here, I'm like, wow, this is what I was worrying about. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Hey, got over that hump and it's, easy. Well, it's not easy, but you're doing well. And,
Just
I'm really proud of you. And that leads me to what you do for fun and relaxation to relieve stress. And I'm sure one of them is going to be your weightlifting or working
yeah,
out or,
that is definitely the biggest thing. Right now, I'm recovering from an overuse injury, and I haven't been able to go in a while, and it's really, yeah, it's such a bummer. Like it's really depressing. Um,
oh, and
that's like,
I just want to interrupt you and say that Teresa Levine is saying hi to you, and Spirit Messenger Sheila, she has a wonderful channel. She's here listening to you too.
mm,
Uh, so go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
no, you're all
Nice
good.
to see people are interested in the Gen Zers and they want to hear what's going on in those minds. But
Yeah,
because you're a freshman in university, it's really absolutely interesting to hear what you
hmm,
think. And you're
yeah,
so close to being able to vote. You're already 18, but the next major election is 2024. So I'm
hmm,
sure as the momentum comes forward, I know for me, it got exciting when it was time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
So you actually do you ever hold a book in your hand and read anymore? Like at night to go to sleep, you never have to because you're dead tired.
Yeah, no,
Go
I
right to
used to do that. I used to do that every night, like, but it's really as soon as high school started,
yeah.
uh, like, you know, I still had relatively the same routine in high school where I would be working out late or early morning, and I would
Yeah.
just be too dead tired. I'd be working,
Yeah.
and it, you know, I just it would I would feel like, man, well, I don't need to do this to like tire myself out or like mentally exhaust myself. I'm already there, I'm already there.
Oh,
Uh,
man. Oh, you have
yeah.
another fan, Heart Centered Tarot, Marina. She's here and says hi to you. Hi, Marina. Yeah, you can say hello, Connor. Say hello.
Hi.
It's just like they're there, but you can't see their picture.
Gotcha. Okay.
And when you're on StreamYard, you can look at the comments too by clicking
Oh,
comments
can I? I didn't know.
up on the right hand side. If you click that, you can see all the people in the chat that are saying hi to you.
Oh, okay.
And uh, a nice, handsome grandson like you, yeah, I'm proud of my grandson. Yes. So, uh, for actual fun, I mean, with your friends, what do you have any time to even get together with your friends?
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely do. I make time, just I feel like I have to. Because
You don't want to lose those connections, and
yeah, if I
yeah,
don't take the energy to make time, I would never see them.
exactly.
I think yesterday I got home at maybe 11 p.m. But my friends were still waiting up for me. Uh,
Oh,
so I went out to out with them. We were, I don't know, probably up to like 4 in the morning. Um,
you got
but
to do it because this is the age. When are you going to do
yeah,
it? If not now. You can catch up on
yeah.
your sleep later.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I think in all the areas of my life, I think a lot of people feel the same. Is like sleep is what's being sacrificed. That's the
Yeah,
easiest thing to sacrifice.
yeah. When you need to socialize with your friends and you need to keep that connection, I
Hmm.
totally. Oh, Teresa says her daughter still likes to read books. Yeah, I like the feel of books too, but I have to be
Hmm.
honest with you. I read them on my iPad now because I
Yeah.
can take my iPad everywhere, and when I can't sleep at night, I put I put it on the dark screen and I read, and my husband doesn't get, you know, he doesn't wake up. So, you know,
Hmm.
yeah, that's what I do, Teresa. But I totally, I mean, I have carried books to work that were that thick, like the Harry Potter series,
Yeah.
dragging them. I've done all that because I totally love books. I totally love them. But I've just given up on them because I can read them on my iPad and I can
Hmm.
change the font and make it bigger or smaller. And it's just convenient. And
Yeah.
I can
No, it is.
prop it, I can prop it up and I don't have to hold it. You know how you have to hold the page open?
Yeah.
But still, there is something about holding that paper, that book, that tangible thing.
Hmm.
But, you know, oh, look at this. So Marina is an English major and books are her passion. Yeah, I totally
Hmm.
love books. I mean, I can't get enough. I must read. I'm not kidding you. I read at least 10 books a week. So Connor, I mean, don't do you read material just for school now and you just don't have any much time for any entertaining? You say
Hmm.
it's better to stay not, you don't want to go to that fake reality world of books right now because it doesn't.
No, I wouldn't say that. There's a lot of times where like I'll just have to take mental breaks during the day,
Yeah,
and I have books on like on my phone or laptop that I've downloaded that I'm reading like sometimes every chance I get because I'm just like believe me, like
yeah,
Literally
levity
anything
or
I'd rather do than work.
you need to focus. That's what I do. And that's what I use it for, is kind of a distraction. It's a distraction to calm my mind down and center it on something else. And, but I'm weird because I like read vampire books. I got the supernatural books. I got books about everything. Um, yeah. So I wanted to know, as far as your schedule that you're keeping in your exercise, I mean, tell people about how much you're exercising when you go to the gym and you're doing this weight training.
There'd be some nights like it is the goal of all the weight training and everything, it's not so much like a I mean the looks are like the aesthetic you get from it, like physically, that's just kind of that's a side
icing on the cake.
That's a side play.
That's
It's icing on the cake. I think more so it relieves stress, builds confidence.
Yeah.
And it's, if you treat it more so like a martial art than you do just a regular activity, you get a lot more, physically and emotionally out of it, than you would.
You do. And also, as you build the strength in the muscles, that gives you more oxygen for your body, and it takes away fatigue and makes you stronger to carry out your daily routine, whatever that is. So what time do you have to get up in the morning?
Mostly this past semester I've been working out at like probably midnight usually. That's so in the morning, like way in the morning. I'd get off sometime, if I'm lucky, I'll get off work or I'll finish homework by like 11 p.m. I'll have time to get over and maybe like hour and a half to 2 hours of a workout, and then maybe by like 1 or 2 I'm maybe by like 1 or 2 I'm in bed.
Wow.
But yeah, those are like those are sacrifices. Like if you love doing that's also just something that's changed, is like if you love doing something, you have to make time for it. There's no you can't.
I totally agree with you. You really need to give yourself that gift of things that you enjoy like that, because if you will start resenting or get burnout on so many things if you don't put the fun things in or make time for your friends. That's how you don't get burnout. You don't want to make yourself a workhorse that doesn't play or do any of that, because that's not good. So I'm proud of you. It looks like you're managing yourself well, and you're doing well in school, and you're getting all buff. Of course, nobody can see because you got your sweatshirt on, and your room is so dark now.
Sorry, it's really overcast over here.
They can't see my handsome grandson. So I wanted to know how long it took you to drive to school every morning.
Every morning, it's like I can get there pretty fast. Probably like under 10 minutes, like or so.
Man, you have it made.
It's really easy. It makes waking up till like the last minute also very easy, which is sometimes like a bit of a hindrance. Maybe I should break that habit, but
Marina's saying some proud grandma. Yeah, I am a proud grandma. Well, I wanted to know when you eat. When's there time for you to even have a decent meal? I mean, because you're
I usually don't eat breakfast.
You're like me. I never ate breakfast. No one understood it, but I never ate. My stomach's asleep in the morning. It's not awake.
No, it's just get up and go. And then oh my God, my diet's awful. I think like in my classes, we have
Well,
something called.
when you bodybuild, you need more protein.
No, I do. I usually load that on like in the evening, just before work or after, because it's better to have anabolically. It's better to have protein after a workout,
Correct. Correct.
for
Absolutely. To
recovery.
rebuild the
Yeah,
muscles. They get
Mm,
broken down when you weight train, and then they need to
yeah,
be rebuilt. And so having
yeah,
that protein after helps that overnight it's repairing and
yeah.
yeah.
No, and it's not as if I can do everything I could before. Both like the summer before this semester, I was at my physical peak, strength and aesthetically, with my eating thrown off. Like,
Yeah.
eating is one of those things where it's like you also had to sacrifice it. I can't take an hour of lunch,
No,
because that's
right. That's what I
so
was
much
picturing.
material I could have
I
absorbed.
didn't picture enough time for you to actually sit down and have a real meal.
No,
It's, no,
no,
you're
it's that's
running, you're getting home, you're sleeping, then you're running to work, and then you're coming
yeah,
home, you're running to go work out, and then you go lay out in bed and go to sleep.
yeah.
Yeah,
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 no, I usually try to load all of my food just right before I go to bed.
yeah,
That
yeah,
way I'm less hungry when I wake up and all that
sure.
stuff. It's
Yeah, I totally understand that.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
especially
can
as hard
understand.
as you work out. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, well, we're coming to the end of our Gen Z chat with
Mm,
Connor. And I'm so glad that you came. And I'm so
yeah.
glad you made time for this. And I know how busy you are, especially now after, talking with you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Mm. Man, to be young again.
Yeah.
Never mind. I like it now.
It's yeah, no, it's got its ups and downs. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Well, you're doing great. And I am
Thank you.
absolutely proud of you. And I'm so glad you came on my channel. And
Mhm,
thank you, everyone who joined us. And the future people are going to hit us on the replay.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, it was wonderful. And I know we learned a lot from Connor. Connor is extremely articulate. I, I really enjoyed our conversation. So
Thank
say
you.
goodbye to everyone. And we're going to end the
Bye.
broadcast. Bye.